Mason ordered a gift for his mistress, but he picked the wrong address and it was delivered to our house. A blush-inducing lace teddy and a pair of bunny ears for women. I carried the box upstairs to confront him, and he didn't bother to hide a thing. Lily, the spark is gone. I can't get excited about you anymore, but the pressure at work is crushing and I need an outlet. I swallowed my feelings and asked, what about me? I'm under pressure too, don't I deserve a release? Mason swirled his wine, a cold smile curling his lip. What pressure could you possibly have? Besides, my affairs outside haven't stopped me from taking care of you. Mason had no idea I'd never truly enjoyed it. I was a good actress, I'd performed for 5 years and I was sick of the role. The next morning I handed him the divorce papers. He snickered. Lily, what are you thinking? Who's going to keep you once you leave me? I said flatly, didn't think much. I'm just stressed and need someone new to blow off steam. Life is short, more experiences, more comparisons. Before we go on, subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. Today is my 4th wedding anniversary with Mason. It's late, but Mason still hasn't come home. I had the housekeeper set flowers in the living room and light a scented candle on the nightstand, and I kept waiting. The doorbell rang, the housekeeper hurried over, delighted. Sterling, come downstairs, your husband has a surprise. I shuffled down in my slippers and saw an enormous bouquet of red roses from halfway across the foyer. Too big for both arms. Presumably Mason's anniversary gift. He'd probably forgotten I dislike red roses, they're tacky. But after 4 years of marriage we were an old couple, edges worn smooth, too tired for tantrums. This was one of the rare times he'd bothered with romance. So tonight the crimson blooms actually felt warm enough to dull the ache inside me. I reached for the flowers, about to thank him, when the Del. Ivory driver said, Tiffany, the flowers and this parcel are valuable, please sign. His words froze me. He thrust the parcel at me. Hands shaking, I tore it open on the spot. A note fluttered out. Sorry you're on your own tonight. I'll make it up to you soon. The handwriting was unmistakably Mason's. We'd agreed he'd be home for our anniversary, so the U in the note couldn't be me. Inside lay a front cutout, tea-back lace 3-piece set. And fluffy pink bunny ears. Plus lube and other warm-up toys. The courier saw everything, flushed crimson, and shoved the tablet at me. Tiffany, please sign. I've got another delivery. Tiffany, he said it again, as if to remind me. A bucket of ice water over my head. I'm not Tiffany. The housekeeper noticed me lingering and hurried over. Mind racing, I scrawled the name Tiffany. The driver glanced at the scrawl, too embarrassed to quibble, and left scarlet-faced. As if he'd glimpsed a secret he shouldn't. He didn't know, I wasn't the secret's owner. Like him, I was merely its accidental witness. I had just signed for my husband's infidelity. Our marriage had always been hailed as a fairy tale. A top-tier actress abandons her career at its height to wed a tycoon. The groom, Sterling's golden heir, loaded and gorgeous. Industry insiders and the public alike assumed we were a power couple sculpted by commerce. Nobody knew I married Mason because he saved me one rainy night 5 years ago. After drama school, my face, striking enough to stop traffic, caught a famous director's eye. One blockbuster and I was swimming in A-list scripts. But I was glitter without backing. I snubbed a queen pin with underworld ties. She had me dragged to a basement parking garage at midnight. Mason stormed in alone, Sterling heir or not, and threatened mutual destruction if they didn't let me go. I'll never forget the resolve on his face. An orphan, I'd never been protected like that. He'd fallen for me the day I signed with Sterling. I turned him down. After that rescue he proposed on the spot, and I said yes. We threw a lavish wedding. I thought we had love. I didn't know the rescue was both Cupid's arrow and a landmine under our marriage. Our wedding night was a disaster. Mason said the sight of me disheveled in that rain-soaked garage had scarred him. Guilt drowned me. From that night on I kept telling him I was fine, untouched. Gradually things improved in bed. But I never enjoyed it. Mason had no physical problem. Yet every time he moved as though exorcising demons, rough, angry. I hated it, but forced myself to endure, convinced it was simply his taste. To keep the peace I even studied videos. I mimicked the women on screen, faking pleasure. Acting is my craft, easy work. I whimpered, moaned, eventually cried theatrical tears of bliss. Eventually I believed we'd outgrown that hurdle. Until tonight, when the nightmare rushed back. The lube and toys in the parcel stabbed my eyes. Mason and I never used extras. He'd be hard in seconds and push right in. I told him it hurt. He never cared. Now I saw clearly, not only was he cheating, he was gentle, playful, considerate with someone else. I stood in the cold doorway a long time. Long enough for Mason to finally pull in. Headlights flared and died. He saw me, standing behind the roses he'd bought for another woman. Mason didn't bother denying anything. In the silent bedroom his slender fingers lifted the lace teddy, then flicked toward my robe. He leaned in to kiss me and I shoved him away on reflex. He'd just admitted adultery, shameless, righteous. I'm mild-tempered, I've never raised my voice. But now fury and humiliation scorched my heart. I scooped up the parcel's contents and hurled them at him. He laughed. Playing coy? I haven't touched you in months, don't you miss it? Mason, you're filthy, I said coldly. He smoothed his shirt, pretending dignity. I'm filthy? Lily, you were filthy first, remember? His words drove into my chest like nails. The seed of sus. Picayune had never died, it had sprouted. In his eyes I would always be dirty. Lily, the spark is gone. I can't get excited about you, but the pressure at work is crushing and I need an outlet. I swallowed a laugh and asked, and me? I'm under pressure too, don't I deserve a release? Mason walked to the wine cabinet, poured half a glass, sipped. What pressure could you possibly have? Besides, my affairs outside haven't stopped me from taking care of you. Curiosity kills cats. After finishing the wine Mason left the house. I followed at a distance. He stopped outside a university gate. A girl in a white dress flew into his arms, coquettish, complaining. Mason reached into the car, produced a few red roses, and handed them over like magic. He'd snapped them from the bouquet at home. The girl beamed, wrapped her arms around his neck, stood on tiptoe and kissed him. She climbed into his car and they sped away. Only then did I lower the phone I'd been recording with. Mason's sentence echoed, you were filthy first, remember? I couldn't breathe. Pain spread from my heart to every fingertip. Hands trembling, I replayed the clip. The girl was young. Mason looked at her with protectiveness and love, the same gaze he'd given me the night he saved me. Except tonight the girl wasn't disheveled, wasn't dirty. I closed the phone, drove home, and fell into a fitful sleep. In my dreams I was a child again. Summer cicadas screeched. Bed springs squeaked. Pain, metallic and cold, soaked me. Sticky water dripped from the ceiling onto my face. Next morning I called my lawyer. We drafted the agreement. Simple, I wanted $200 million. A fortune, but manageable for Sterling. When Mason came home he flipped through the papers, unable to believe I was filing. Years of living like a pampered queen, and now this, Lily? Who's going to keep you once you leave me? I slipped the wedding ring off my finger. Held it in front of his eyes and said flatly, not overthinking anything. The pressure's just crushing, so I needed a new outlet. Life is short, sample more flavors, compare a little. Pressure, a need to vent. Exactly what he'd told me last night, now I served it back to him. Mason sneered. What makes you think I'll pay you and let you walk? I added, the little girl you keep outside is still young. If your affair gets exposed, for her it'll be. I tapped open last night's recording and showed him. Using her husband's songbird to pressure him into signing the divorce settlement. A story bitter enough to sting, yet I recited it like weather chat. Veins leapt along Mason's temples, he clamped my wrist so hard his jaw ground. Lily, you trailed me, filmed me, and now you threaten me. I swallowed the pain drilling through my wrist and, one-handed, shook loose the signature page of the divorce papers. I wouldn't dare, I just want your signature in exchange for some security. Mason stared at the ring I'd set on the table, shadows rising in his eyes. Don't pull cute stunts. You know exactly what I'm capable of. One last time he asked, you sure? Really want this divorce? When I still said yes, he scrawled his name. He raked me with a mocking glance. Let's see how long you last on your own. I hoisted the suitcase I'd already packed, arranged the date for the final filing, and left without looking back. I hadn't gone far beyond Sterling when I spotted a vaguely familiar figure waiting at the corner. It was last night's girl. Gone was yesterday's virginal white dress. Today she wore a blazing red mini dress. She click-clacked toward me on stilettos. Sis, so? Did you like the red roses I sent? So the bouquet had been purposely misaddressed to my home. Bold little thing. I kept walking, I had no interest in banter. But she grabbed my arm, voice sharpening. Looks like you loved them, and got the message, since you're leaving. Let me remind you, don't even think about coming back. Aichi tells me everything, we're practically soulmates. If you Now your face again, I can't promise the story of what happened to you 5 years ago stays secret. A threat. Mason had actually told her about that night 5 years back. A surge of irritation flared in my chest. I watched the ceaseless traffic a few steps away, then spoke, voice iced. Tiffany, know where the last person who crossed me ended up? Tiffany's lip curled. Threatening me? Come on, big star, you haven't been hot for 5 years, and now Mason's dumped you. What pull do you have left? Smiling, I corrected her. Not 5 years. The last one who crossed me did it 20 years ago. He was pulped right here, an 18-wheeler mashed him into the asphalt. Her smug face froze mid-grin. I wasn't finished. Calmly I went on. I still remember it. Crowds gathering, bones and blood smeared crimson, just like sunset, or that bouquet of red roses last night. You psycho. Tiffany went white. Crazy bitch, talking nonsense. She was genuinely shaken. Staring at me as if I'd sprouted horns, she spun away and sped off. Next day Mason called. He was furious. Lily, scaring a kid, fun for you? What did you say to her? She's been crying since she got back. I'm telling you, our divorce has nothing to do with Tiffany. We simply don't fit. She's even defending you, won't tell me a word. But I'm warning you, stay away from her or I won't be polite. Rare to hear him this livid. His tone yanked me back to that night 5 years ago when, eyes bloodshot, he'd threatened those kidnappers. Now the one he protected is the one he threatens. Mason, you only ask what I said, not what she said to me? A few seconds of silence. I answered for him. You don't care anymore. Since we're done, you can blame me however you like, and I can choose not to explain. He gave a cold laugh. All these years, you haven't changed a bit. But right now you've got nothing left to be proud of. I ignored the jab. Don't forget, county clerk, 1 week. I hung up, checked the calendar. Today I owed a visit to Hillside. These years married to Mason, I'd gained plenty. Top-tier medical connections from Sterling bought Grandpa extra breaths, for one. Brother, behind bars, got certain favors too. I'm practically the poster child for tragic origins. Grandpa and brother shared no blood with me. My real father died young of illness. Mom remarried, then left this world early. Sunshine sat near our house. After Mom passed, my stepfather often dumped me there to mooch meals. Grandpa was Sunshine's director. Brother was the older kid everyone looked up to. The few warm moments of my childhood came from them. Fate, though, loves cruelty. Grandpa and brother are both gone now. Mason bought the prime plot at Hillside in Riverdale and laid them to rest there, stones side by side. Head bowed, I recalled Grandpa's dying plea. Lily, you think you could take over Sunshine one day? I set flowers before his grave and talked to him alone. Grandpa, I asked Mason for Sunshine. He flatly refused to give it to me. My entanglement with Sterling was fated long ago. Sterling's empire is vast. Sunshine has been its flagship charity for 40 years. But Grandpa, I won't give up. I took a photo from my bag, our latest college-bound girls, smiles dazzling. If brother hadn't gone to prison, his future would have been just as bright. But for my sake he committed a crime and was locked away. Mason keeps brooding over that night 5 years ago. He has no idea my childhood was worse. I had a beast for a stepfather. To send that beast to his next life sooner, brother ran him over with a car. Brother, I murmured, brushing dust from his stone, tell me, how many people in this world are truly clean? The sun slid west. In the afterglow I watched it set and kept chatting. How dare Mason call me dirty? In truth, he's the filthiest of all. Filthy people deserve hell, don't they? Tiffany moved into the marital villa. She WhatsApped me a friend request. Once I accepted, videos flooded in. Our giant wedding photo, snapped in half, tossed in the trash. My red carpet shots and solo portraits dumped alongside. Pieces of my wardrobe she'd found, dragged to the yard, and torched. She tossed my pictures into the flames and filmed. Sis, look, pretty fire, isn't it? Unbridled arrogance. I used to worry you'd whine to Mason about my little welcome. These days I know better. Even if you snitch, it doesn't matter. Mason loves me to the marrow. He said no matter what I do he'll cover me, love me. He says I'm the purest girl in the world. Watching the flames dance on screen, I typed back, pity, we're still married. That makes you the mistress. Know what that is? The filthiest, cheapest kind. My words were ugly. Tiffany went silent. The next morning the internet exploded with planted stories, every headline bearing my name. Scoop, 5 years ago Sterling's first lady Lily's garage orgy, reports, Lily's pre-wedding group sex romp in basement, Sterling CEO divorces slutty wife after lewd past surfaces. Photos were included, grainy shots of me in that basement 5 years back. My phone filled with vile anonymous texts. Social feeds drowned in insults, whore, shameless, slut, every obscenity imaginable. Someone even mailed dead animals to the apartment. On filing day I wrapped myself up, wide brim hat, shades, mask, long sleeves, and pants. Mason spotted me from afar, smirking. What are you hiding from, Lily? With me, no paparazzi would dare. In the queue he leaned close, whispering like the devil. Sweetheart, life's been rough lately, hasn't it? I told you, when I want to crush someone, it's easier than stepping on an ant. You didn't believe me. Regretting it now? Lily enters divorce cooling off period. She walks the streets alone after filing. I've been out of the spotlight for so long. Yet the story of a fall from grace always sells. My phone has even begun to fill with lewd messages. Back in my red carpet days, sleazy tycoons harassed me nonstop. Now they're back. How about coming with me? I'll keep you in steak and champagne. If Sterling doesn't want you, I do. Every one of these texts is Tiffany's handiwork. And of course Mason allows it. Maybe even encourages it. Mason hates being defied. A year ago he told me to return to Sunshine and screen a few girls. He claimed they had the right look for Sterling. He promised that if I agreed, he'd hand control of Sunshine to me. I refused. Sterling Sunshine has a detail nobody notices. Almost all the children are girls. Generation after generation of girls grow up there. The pretty ones are cherry-picked straight into Sterling. On my wedding day, the late Sterling patriarch said, "In all these years, you're the fairest blossom ever to descend from Sunshine." He chose the word pluck, perfectly vulgar. Mason is subtler, he says screen. I refused to screen for him. From that night on he never touched me again, and he began to dredge up the past 5 years. Lily, where do you think the food on your plate, the clothes on your back come from? Heaven? Why did I marry you? Because you're pretty? No. Because you're dirty. Dirty people act without scruples, don't they? I just never thought you'd end up playing saint. The Sterling waters run deeper than anyone imagines. For years I've hunted one answer. When exactly did I step into the swamp? Soon, perhaps, I'll know. These last few days, thanks to Tiffany, while the harassment rains down, I've met plenty of paparazzi and black ops dirt diggers. For cash they'll turn the same tricks on someone else. Is Tiffany really the innocent little white flower? They worked fast. In no time they excavated her past. Young as she is, she's lived several lifetimes, serial mistress, repeat abortions. After latching onto a rich patron she changed her name and bought her way into acting school. Then, at a business gala, she hooked Mason. Spectacularly bright. Once I had the file, I didn't leak it online. I zipped it and sent it straight to Ma. Son, near midnight my phone rang. Mason. Hoarse voice, Lily, open the door. I pulled on a robe and unlatched it. He stood in a bespoke tux, leaning against the jamb. Fresh from some banquet, half drunk. His eyes held a glaze of liquor and the swagger of a man who thinks he's already won. He reached out, pinched my chin, studied me like property. Lily, you're breathtaking. Marrying you wasn't only Grandpa's idea, it was mostly mine. Who wouldn't want to own something so beautiful? But you had to act out, force me to teach you the rules. Life without me has been rough, hasn't it? Regretting it? You didn't need to hire people to dig up dirt on Tiffany and parade her ruin in front of me. Just say you were wrong and I'll forgive you. He kept talking, fingertip tracing my lips, crowding me into the corner. I used to hate that other men had seen you, thought you were dull in bed. Yet now that you're gone, damn it, I can't stop craving you. Huh. A low laugh rolled out of me. Really? When I look back on our years together, I only feel sorry for myself. The moment the words hit, his body went rigid. He'd arrived in full conqueror mode. He assumed that after days of online lynching I'd be desperate, that the instant he offered an olive branch I'd grab it and crawl back, and afterward I'd obey him without question, go back to Sunshine, use my ex-starlet halo to coax the younger girls, lead them straight into Sterling, turn them into Sterling chattel, to be gifted to whichever power broker. With no backing, they'd be easy prey, used up, chewed out, discarded. No one would protect them, no one would speak for them. My answer ignited fury in his eyes. Mine blazed with stubborn contempt. You say I didn't need to ruin Tiffany in front of you? Wrong. That's the only way trash like you learns. You deserve someone equally rotten. But even Tiffany might refuse to do your dirty work. Because from start to finish, the Sterling family is the filthiest of all. Go ahead, test her. If you don't believe me. I shoved him away. Mason's rage flared. I offered you the title of Sterling and it went to your head? Believe me, any other woman would kill for the spot, and none would be so ungrateful. I couldn't be bothered to argue. Day after tomorrow the cooling off period ends. Be on time to sign the divorce papers. Mason gave a cold laugh. Lily, aren't you afraid? Are you counting on my fondness, thinking I'd never really hurt you? My step toward the bedroom faltered, cotton seemed to fill my throat. Your family can have anyone erased without effort. I'll be waiting. Early autumn, the wind already carried a chill. I tightened my coat, glanced at the leaves just beginning to yellow, then walked back inside without looking back. Mason asked if I'm afraid. Of course I am. The instant the door shut, my legs buckled. I slid down the wall, crouching, head in my hands, while the fragments I'd collected over the years pieced themselves into a picture. First, brother. The man who rammed and killed my stepfather wasn't him. Sterling hired the driver, then framed brother. Stepdad's death wasn't karma catching up. He'd infiltrated the Sterling chauffeur pool and stumbled onto their secrets, so his fate was a sudden, fatal accident. Then Grandpa. After he took over as director and refused to cooperate, he developed a strange, incurable illness. How could I not be terrified? Mason was right, they could crush me like an ant. Just like 5 years ago. That heroic rescue in the garage? Staged. The A-list actress who supposedly set me up had simply pissed off Sterling. The old patriarch orchestrated the whole thing, pinned the evidence on her, then threatened her studio. Play ball with Sterling or watch your top star burn. And getting me to marry into the family was just a bonus. Yet I'd wanted the marriage all along. My initial rejection of Mason was pure gamesmanship. The unattainable is always more desirable. That refusal made him mention me to the patry. Arch Mason never realized I climbed into the kidnapper's car myself. In the garage I thrashed and tore my clothes so I'd look pitiful. I milked the scene for every drop of romantic salvation, betting that the more emotionally invested he was, the less suspicious he'd be. For 5 years I numbed myself, insisting the man who saved me was my hero. I acted the role so well I almost believed it. Inside Sterling I gathered evidence, living in dread day after day. What kept me going? Maybe brother. The night stepdad died, if he hadn't gone to confront him for my sake, he'd never have been anywhere near my apartment, never been knocked out and planted at the crash site in a frame job so seamless. Maybe Grandpa. If Sterling hadn't interfered, he'd never have fallen ill and faded away in despair. Or maybe myself. I still see the girl pinned under that animal in the dark, staring at a dripping ceiling, rain and tears indistinguishable on her face. That humiliation once dragged me to the abyss, but in that abyss I grew the reckless courage to haul up fire and burn the whole pit down. I can't forget the lovely girls at Sunshine. They've known nothing but hardship, not knowing their futures could be even darker. Worse, was their misery engineered from the start? I don't dare think it. And I can't keep thinking. Answers never come from thinking alone. After the patriarch died, Mason took over. His methods are sloppier. Step by step I did what I could, surviving one day at a time. Now, watching Mason's Rolls-Royce Phantom speed away beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, I straighten my thoughts and rise. Answers I can't find alone, someone else will find for me. The day we go to sign the divorce papers, Mason brings Tiffany. Gone is the scruffy college girl look. Tiffany now carried an unmistakable air of nobility from head to toe. The moment the divorce certificate was stamped, I turned to leave. Tiffany hurried after me. Sis, you're pitiful, dumped just like that. I looked at her nose and the air expression and almost laughed. Relax. Even if he tosses me, he still won't marry you. Tiffany's eyes flared red, she pointed at me, stamping her foot. You, she spun around and rushed off to cry to Mason. Mason's gaze at me was nothing but mockery. Who says I won't marry you? He hooked an arm around Tiffany's waist. Be a good girl and I'll give you everything. Tiffany smiled sweetly up at him. What exactly counts as good? Mason shot me a taunting glance. Patience. You'll find out very soon. Over the years I had often returned to Sunshine to visit. I'd hand out snacks and stuffed animals to the kids. The new director watched me with open disdain. Lily, you're no longer Sterling, no need to keep caring so much about this place. Seems the new director has a crystal clear idea of her job description. While I was handing things out, a little girl hugged a ship model, tilting her head, her voice innocent. Sister, you're so pretty. Lots of pretty sisters got tickets to board the big ship. Is it fun? Will you go too? I stroked her hair and gently asked, why do you like this model? The girl beamed. Because if I take it apart I can see how a big ship is built. I nodded and answered her. I'm not getting on the big ship. But I'll tell you, studying how to build one is way more fun than riding in one. The girl lifted her face, eyes shining. Really? Sister, can I build ships when I grow up? Could she? I remembered what Grandpa said to me right before he died. Lily, you're the strongest girl I've ever met. After seeing the ugliest the world has to offer, you remain gentle and pure. Only someone like you is fit to protect those innocent, lovely souls. Watching the sunset, I said softly to the girl, "Of course you can." The little girl wanted to study shipbuilding, but another group of girls who had left Sunshine were boarding a ship that very night. After they boarded, I contacted every paid influencer I'd lined up. All of them dropped their stories at the same instant. The hot search charts were instantly painted with my headlines. Lily flashes her divorce papers. Lily claims childhood abuse, hints at emotional trauma. Lily announces livestream to unveil the mystery of the underground garage. Each title was engineered for maximum shock. Thanks to the earlier dirt Tiffany had splashed across the internet, the moment I pressed go live, the platform's traffic needle spiked. I looked calmly into the camera and sat still. Comments exploded, most of them cursing me. Said I was shamelessly chasing clout, buying spots on the trending list. Said I was desperate for a comeback. Said after Mason tossed me I probably couldn't even afford food. I smiled and started telling them about my childhood. Let's begin with my stepfather. Ripping open old wounds always reels in eyeballs, right? Sure enough, as I spoke the comment section quieted. I kept talking, unhurried. Gradually I spoke about brother, and about grandpa. Just as everyone was hooked, I cut the feed. The new stream showed the yacht, a row of powerful men, girls forced to drink. Suit-clad beasts ignored their struggles, hands roaming over young, tender bodies. Quit the act, you're here to marry up, aren't you? Sterling's merchandise really is gorgeous and clean, though a bit too feisty. The scene was chaos, sickening. No matter how the girls fought, they couldn't break free of the claws closing over them. Besides, the liquor had been drugged long ago. The livestream rocketed to #1. The platform detected the footage and yanked the feed, but the deed was done. Before boarding, Tiffany had walked through the plan with me again and again. Lily, what if one of the girls turns us into Mason for a reward? I told her, maybe someone will. But that's beyond our control. We gamble everything or we lose. Lily, why not hide the camera on me? I shook my head. Every girl boarding gets searched, thoroughly. On you it wouldn't last. Tiffany is younger and jumpier. When we staged our street corner fight, she kept glancing around, terrified Sterling's nanny might miss the show. When she burned my things inside the Sterling mansion, she worried we'd torch the whole house. After she saw the fake dirt I'd cooked up on her, she panicked. What if Mason realized it was forged? Up to the moment she stepped on the gangway she was tense, certain some link would snap. Next to her, I was eerily calm. I told Tiffany, sweetheart, once you've lived a little longer you'll see the world is just one giant amateur stage. You think the people on top are automatically brilliant? They're only riding resources and inherited swagger. Still, there was a time I doubted, just like her, whether I had any power to fight back. Until 6 months ago, when I handed every scrap of evidence to the authorities. The case drew attention, formal forces stepped in, and only then did real confidence take root. The sudden cut in the livestream just now must have been Sterling pulling strings. Doesn't matter. The net is spread, Mason is the turtle in the jar. The internet hadn't tasted scandal this juicy in ages. As Sterling's crimes surfaced, past victims stepped forward one after another. Throughout Sterling and every elite circle touching it, dominoes toppled, each piece dragging the next into the light. After Mason was locked up, I went to see him. We spoke through glass. From bespoke suits to prison grays, he looked 10 years older, his face gray. When he saw who the visitor was, Lily. Tiffany was your pawn, wasn't it? Never thought you'd be this clever. You told her to slip the surveillance chip onto me? I nodded. Exactly. Who'd dare frisk you? Hiding it on you was safest. When did you start planning this? His eyes burned blood red. I answered coldly, plan? Mason, you're wrong. I stepped into your plan. Inside it, I learned every dirty trick the Sterlings play, and paid you back in your own coin. A player became the breaker. Do you know Tiffany's real story? She too was chosen by your family, but she was smart and tough, escaped your trap, then came to help me, to win justice for her grandpa and grandma. And those girls who boarded the yacht that night, each shifted from victim to breaker as well. Surprised? The vermin you despised punched the breach that brought your dam down. I said all this in a steady stream. Mason stayed silent a long while. When he finally spoke again, his rasp carried a trace of bated hope. All these years, did you ever feel anything real for me? I gave the answer instantly. Every single moment with you made me sick. You called me dirty. Ha! Being called filthy by someone like you is the deepest insult. I endured it all for this day, Mason. The day vermin like you die is the day my life restarts. A flicker of dread crossed his face. Die? I smiled. Yes, Mason. You're going to die. We've crushed you like an ant. At that, Mason slumped, all life gone from his body. The day Mason was executed, I allocated funds to establish an education fund dedicated to Sunshine's operation. After my speech at the fund's inauguration, a little girl ran up clutching a drawing. "Director, look! This is the ship I want to build." It was the same kid who'd loved the ship model. On her paper she had drawn a rocket. I laughed and patted her head. "Amazing, you want to build a spaceship." She beamed and nodded solemnly. "Yep. Last time you told me I could." Outside the hall the noon sun streamed perfect rectangles through the windows. I smoothed the drawing, peace filling my chest. The abyss is ashes, ahead, no darkness remains. Yes, of course she can. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you liked it, please thumbs up and share with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more incredible tales. See you next time.